All right, this episode is brought to you by the Relax Far Infrared Sauna. This is by far our most popular device that we sell, and it's one of my favorites that we have. I've been regularly detoxing and using the sauna for about 5 days a week for about 4 or 5 years now, and sauna therapy is an amazing way to bring hyperthermia to the body, which increases heat shock proteins, increases your immune system, increases longevity, decreases death by all factors, according to Dr. Rhonda Patrick, by 40%. It's an amazing, amazing therapy to add into your life. And these Relax Far Infrared saunas are great because they're portable. You don't have to knock out a wall. They're very, very low EMF. They heat up right away and they get hot immediately, and you get heat shock proteins and you get detoxified to your core. And so it's a really great therapy to pull heavy metals and toxins from your body. I highly, highly recommend checking them out in our store. And we're also brought to you by the Bellicon Rebounders. Rebounding is an incredible way to detoxify your lymphatic system. And your lymphatic system has more fluid in it than your entire body has blood. And it's a place where we store toxins and chemicals and poisons in our body. And that's why most doctors will check your lymph nodes and lymph glands whenever you go in if you're sick. So what I do is I jump every day on the rebounder for about 30 minutes, and then I get into the sauna. It's a great therapy to use one after another. And rebounding is a cellular exercise, and it helps to increase bone density, and it works and stimulates every single cell in the body. It's just an awesome, awesome thing to do every single day. And it's fun, increases endorphins, and you just feel amazing. And the Bellicon is silent. It uses flexi ropes, not springs. It's got a warranty on it. You can fold the legs on it so it stores easily, and it's silent, so you can do it with other people in the house without anybody hearing. And it's just an incredible exercise. So check out both the Far Infrared Sauna as well as the Bellicon Rebounders. Both are available in our store or at extremehealthradio.com/514. All right, thanks everybody for joining us on another show, another episode here of Extreme Health Radio. This is going to be a fun one. We've got Dr. Carolyn Dean on the line from the great state of Hawaii. We'll be introducing her in just a second. A lot of good stuff, a lot of good content coming your way. We're back in studio. We're able to record. We still have some technical issues, but we're working around that. There's a lot of stuff going on here with our soundboard, with our computer. We're going to be talking today with her about total body meltdown, but for us, it feels like a total system computer meltdown over here. So hopefully we're able to get a good show out to you today. It's going to be a good one. Thanks for joining us. This is episode, let me make sure I get this correct so that you can check out the sponsors for today's show and check out any links. Yep, this is episode 514, so if you want to check out the actual listen on the website, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/514. And just so you know, we're back on track now with shows 3 days a week, which is exciting. I'm glad to be back. So if you want to keep up to date with all of our shows, the best way to do that would be to subscribe to our newsletter. So if you text the word Get Healthy to 33444, you can sign up and get all of our updates. We typically email every Monday and every Friday. That way you can keep up to date with all the cool stuff we have going on. Lots of cool stuff. So today we're going to be talking with Dr. Carolyn Dean from the great state of Hawaii. She's on the island of Maui. I am so jealous. But we are. Summer is coming here in Southern California. We're going to be turning our clocks forward. We're going to be springing forward in 2 days. So that'll be great. And let's see. Let me bring up her bio. She's been at this at the forefront of health issues for 50 years. She was just telling me before the show. Her bio says 40 years. So she may need to update that. But she's a medical doctor. She's also a naturopath, an herbalist, acupuncturist, nutritionist, intuitive, lecturer, consultant, author, inventor, capitalist, and purveyor of common sense. I like that. She graduated from medical school in 1978 and held a medical license in California. and is a graduate of the Ontario College of Naturopathic Medicine. So she's written a bunch of books too. So let me turn her microphone on so we can actually hear her. Dr. Dean, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine, Justin. Thank you. And call me Carolyn for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
I know I'm a doctor. You don't have to tell me.
You know, I hear sometimes people go for the doctor so that, they get the doctorate degree so people can call them doctor.
Well, that's why I went into medicine. The 50 years comes from 10 years before I got my medical degree, 10 years of reading about health and being interested in nutrition and exercise, but nobody would listen to me. I was in honors biology, and all of a sudden I realized I had all the prerequisites for medicine, and I said, oh my gosh, I already know more about health than these guys ever will. So I did go into medicine so that people would listen to me, just because I had a doctorate, but the medical training just was not enough, and that's why I did my naturopathic afterwards.
Wow.
And that's how I practiced as a naturopath. I rarely gave drugs. If one of my patients had to have surgery, I would book the surgery on my day off and stand there and protect their organs during the surgery. So
wow.
I had a great time.
Oh, that's amazing. So what got you interested in doing... Well, first of all, are you still practicing, and did you ever have an issue with holding your medical license being as natural as you are?
Oh, yes, of course. Anybody who speaks out as much as I do has been attacked. So in Canada at, what was it, the early 90s, I did a national television show, the Deanie Petty Show up in Canada, where I spooned out the amount of sugar in a can of pop at 10 teaspoons. It hasn't changed. And I spooned out the amount of sugar in a milkshake. And this was a Christmas audience. The audience was full of school kids, and they were oohing and eyeing. It was quite the show. And a sugar lobby group in Canada came after me and complained to my licensing board, which is not supposed to be beholden to industry, but to the public for, public health and education. So anyway, my licensing body attacked me, and then they started investigating me, came in and took records and tried to build a case. They couldn't build a case, but finally, after years of this, with me just, having a lawyer on the side and nothing happening, I actually was invited to come to New York from Toronto to do natural alternative treatments for AIDS. This was when the AIDS crisis started in New York. When we moved to New York, my mother thought I was a missionary, going to New York in those days.
Right.
But anyway, while I was there, the Ontario College of Physicians and Surgeons held a kind of a closed meeting that I was not invited to, and took away a license that I no longer had. I hadn't been in Toronto for years.
Really?
So, yeah, it was a complete setup, just so that on the books it could look like they took my license for being a bad doctor. So it was about sugar, and, of course what's happened since is we've realized that the sugar lobby groups are so powerful. They can stop the World Health Organization from setting limits on sugar intake or making recommendations.
Wow.
And we know now how bad sugar is in countries where refined foods and white sugars are introduced. It doesn't take long for diabetes and heart disease, etc., to soar.
Right.
I remember when I lived in New York, I was living near a community of Indians, Asian Indians, who had come up from Guyana. Guyana had a policy of no refined foods. It was incredible. It was like a junk food ban.
Yeah.
So when Guyanans moved up to New York, they went crazy. They just, everybody loves sugar.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they stopped their palm oil, coconut oil, and did the refined vegetable oils and lots of sugar. So anyway, high incidence within years of diabetes, blindness from diabetes, heart attack, stroke, and they could see it. I mean, it was just exploding within their community. So there's all this epidemiological information and statistics that people can see happening now that India is, our tech support and so much has gone over to India. They're eating our junk food, and India has this huge rise in all these chronic diseases.
Yeah, I would imagine too, because I've been to Africa and have been around the world, and you see these people that are malnourished, but yet they're holding Coke cans and they're holding all of these sugary foods, packaged foods, candy bars, and all this stuff. And it's one thing to be completely mineralized. That's one of the things you want to talk about today, which will be cool. But it's one thing to be completely healthy and mineralized and all of that with good nutrition, and then have something with a lot of sugar in it, versus being completely malnourished and then living on a diet where you drink that much sugar. I mean, it's just it's ravaging people. It's crazy. Yeah,
so it happens a lot faster because I guess we would say in North America we have access to good food. Not that most people go there, but even so, Justin, with mineralizing your body, you have to eat the plants and the animals that they ate the plants where the soil has the minerals.
Oh, true.
And that's the one big thing that is the basis of this mineral depletion is if your farmer, even your organic farmer, if your farmer does not put rock dust or minerals back in the soil. Rock dust is the best because supposedly it has all the minerals. If you just put one mineral at a time, you'll create an imbalance there. But I've had cases of young people now, they're big on their green drinks or even raw diet. And 40 ounces of green drinks a day, you would think, would keep you mineralized. But I get these young people coming to me with heart palpitations and leg cramps, and they don't understand what's wrong. I tell them, take this magnesium and, call me in the morning. And within a day, their symptoms are gone because basically they're healthy, but they're just low in magnesium. And magnesium is the pivotal mineral. It really is the most important mineral in the body because it drives up to 800 different enzymatic processes in the body. The first being the Krebs cycle producing energy packets, ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So in the Krebs cycle, this is what I got out of my 200 hours of biochemistry and medicine. Nobody else was even paying attention, but I just saw these vitamins and minerals as cofactors in all these enzyme processes. In the Krebs cycle, 6 of the 8 steps require magnesium.
Wow, 6 of 8.
So if you don't have enough magnesium, you do not have energy.
Interesting.
And what happens then? You don't have energy, you're apathetic, you're dragging yourself around. The other thing that magnesium does is it relaxes and calms the muscles and the nervous system. If you don't have enough magnesium, your muscles and nerves are hyper excitable. And there's this incredible balance between calcium and magnesium where anytime your magnesium is low, then your calcium is relatively high. So your body goes into tension. Calcium tightens muscles and triggers nerves to create an action. Magnesium then comes in and relaxes the muscles and stops the nerve excitation.
So those two minerals are closely sort of aligned, right? They're very much in line with each other. Interesting. Absolutely. I know you wrote that book, The Magnesium Miracle. Was that correct?
Yeah, and the new edition is coming out this year, and I've just really tried to drive home the fact that when we lose our reserves of minerals, especially the magnesium, then the body is it's your reserve. If you don't have your reserve, you become sicker and sicker, and then modern medicine tries to match drugs to our symptoms so that the problems escalate because of drug side effects. And the drug side effects include magnesium deficiency. So that's where I began to talk about total body meltdown.
Wow. Yeah.
And people, I thought at first people might be offended by that word, but most of them say, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I feel like. I did this blog. I really haven't worked too much on the book because I've just made it part of everything I talk about now, but I blogged it July 2016, and I say, total body meltdown, where nothing works and everything hurts.
Well, that's sort of what you see around the nation and around the world, right? A lot of people just don't have any idea what their health issue is. They've got all kinds of symptoms and don't know where to start. And, I mean, that's the case for a lot of people. Right.
And what's happening now with the younger practitioners out there that are writing all the new books, I'll give you a bit of an excerpt from my latest ebook is called Total Body Reset for Your Thyroid. And I talk about a pharmacist. She's written a book on thyroid, Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Her name is Dr. Wentz.
Right. Yeah.
Isabella Wentz.
Yeah.
And I'm saying in my little booklet, she sprinkles her book with vignettes about her own health. But to me, it's a blow-by-blow description of someone with magnesium deficiency and escalating mineral deficiency getting sicker and sicker until finally her thyroid tests come back abnormal as the end stage of a total body meltdown. She also suffered all the symptoms of yeast overgrowth, which I say includes a cross-reaction of yeast toxins with thyroid tissue causing Hashimoto's. I think she was suffering from Hashimoto's all along, and it wasn't diagnosed for many years. Because her mineral deficiency and yeast overgrowth were never considered, never tested for, and never diagnosed, they caused her expanding list of symptoms. It's only because Hashimoto's has recognized test criteria that her symptoms landed in that camp at the tail end of her journey. And Justin, she begins by, she gives it all away here, but without realizing, because she says she started with feeling chronically stressed out, which is magnesium deficiency. She had chronic fatigue for years, which is magnesium deficiency and yeast overgrowth. She said, I would startle when someone walked into my office or jump out of my skin when my phone rang. So that's magnesium deficiency getting into sodium deficiency and adrenal fatigue. And then she was extremely light sleeper, that's magnesium deficiency, and B vitamin deficiency. Full of nervous energy, palm sweaty, cranky, hypoglycemic, fight or flight, chronic anxiety, acid reflux, which is magnesium deficiency. Mitral valve prolapse is magnesium deficiency, hair loss, that's the 9 mineral deficiency causing hypothyroidism. And cold intolerance, which is hypothyroidism. So,
it's all there.
Yeah, because I see everything through this lens of magnesium, and I try not to be too biased, but I just can't help thinking, what if she took magnesium 7 years before that? Perhaps she would never have drained her body and drained everything to the point that her thyroid and adrenals couldn't really keep up.
Wow. Yeah, I guess that they're all interconnected. I was listening to a doctor recently, and I forget. See, I don't know. I'm not, trained as a doctor or anything, so I don't remember the milligrams or the amount of cc's or anything. But he was talking about how we're so deficient in magnesium that he could give someone, I don't know, an IV bag or some sort of daily treatment of magnesium intravenously for like 7 days. And it was only until after the 7th treatment that the person got up to baseline, which is crazy.
Exactly. I work with a magnesium where you can take it orally, oral liquid, and you can get high amounts that don't cause the laxative effect.
Oh, good.
That's the other problem with magnesium is doctors don't even bother recommending it anymore because the one they recommend, the magnesium oxide, is a laxative.
Right.
So they're just used to using magnesium as a bowel flush before a colonoscopy, for Pete's sake.
Oh, right.
So they don't even look at their biochemistry. They don't hear about it because the people they talk to about drugs and treatments are just drug reps. There's no magnesium reps. But anyway, so, the doctors turn to the IV magnesium because it is less laxative, and it's true. Orally taking a therapeutic amount that does not cause the laxative effect, which is what I work with, it can take months for a person to get fully saturated.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense because, if it takes someone, 7 full days to get intravenous, then a month.
Right.
I've heard too that magnesium is used, like you said, in over 800 enzymatic processes, but it's so important that our body uses it all over, and that's why we're so deficient in it, right?
Yes.
It uses it for everything.
I'll give you an example. Like if someone starts taking magnesium who's been deficient for years, and that can be, an athlete, a teenager who just sweats it all out, and then they start getting a bit anxious, and then over time they're stressed more and more, and they start getting heart palpitations. So you've got someone usually coming to me in their 50s and 60s who's been suffering for 30 or 40 years and probably has been on medication for heart arrhythmias and for anxiety, etc. So they start taking a little bit of magnesium, and what it does, it starts revving things up. It starts making things work again. And they're by now so hyper aware and hyper alert about all their body symptoms that when they start feeling perked up, they think that's a problem. They actually get scared because, oh my gosh, I feel revved up.
Oh, wow.
And so we tell people, well, just take it, start real slow, start in the morning. I have a blog that people can look up called When Magnesium Makes Me Worse. And it's never that magnesium is making you feel worse. It's that it's just opening up your pathways, and also these people who are afraid of any symptom they have, quite naturally because they've been through so much, and they misinterpret, they will start something like magnesium, and they'll feel a little worse on it, and then they'll stop it. And then they'll maybe read more and say, okay, I better start again. This stopping and starting really throws things out of whack as well because you're revving up your pathways, and then you stop your magnesium and your body goes into withdrawal.
Yeah, it's so interesting when you start learning about individual minerals. I'm curious, just in relation to magnesium, I'm curious how, I understand that the body uses it for so many different processes, and that makes sense. But why are we so, I understand why we're so deficient because the body needs so much of it, but are we living some kind of life in this modern world that's depleting us of magnesium? Is that what's going on?
Oh, yeah, you're right there. I have another blog called Gauging Magnesium Deficiency.
Okay.
And what I go through is 100 ways that you can deplete your magnesium. 100 ways. And I'm just dialing it up right now on my super-duper computer, and I'll just read some of them out, because we'll get to this, but there are no real accurate blood tests for magnesium, which is why doctors don't even bother with it. They don't even put it in an electrolyte panel.
Really?
Yeah, you probably are too healthy to need blood tests, but anybody who's ever had their electrolytes drawn, they'll see calcium, potassium, chloride, sodium. There's no magnesium. And yet here I am telling you magnesium is the most important mineral in the body, and it's not even tested for, because the serum magnesium test that they use in hospitals, it's on a feedback loop where if it goes too low, the body will intercede and squeeze out magnesium from the muscles and from the bones to protect the heart.
Okay.
Because the heart's one big muscle, and like I said before, magnesium relaxes muscles. So if you don't have enough magnesium, your heart will go into kind of a tension spasm with relatively too much calcium. Tension spasm in the heart is angina or a heart attack. You've got these athletes who'll sweat out their magnesium in their marathons and their workouts, and they drop dead of a heart attack at the end of the run, and everybody throws up their hands and say, what happened here?
Right.
And they don't even look at magnesium. But anyway, back to gauging the magnesium deficiency. So people can look at this, and if you drink more than 7 alcoholic drinks a week, it can deplete your magnesium. And if you're angry, if you have angina, anxiety, apathy, arrhythmia, asthma, then you are likely to have magnesium deficiency.
I have to call you to task, Dr. Dean.
Yes, sir.
On chocolate. Are you saying that chocolate, because it's got a lot of magnesium, right? But are you saying that if you have a craving for chocolate, you're deficient?
Yeah, Justin he went to gauging magnesium deficiency, jumped right to chocolate, which is number 22B. Yeah, food cravings for chocolate. Haven't you heard? Oh, well, you're not a woman with PMS. Women with PMS will crave chocolate because it's high in magnesium.
That's interesting.
People who are addicted to chocolate, when they get saturated with magnesium, they no longer feel that chocolate addiction.
Interesting. And you know what I see on this list too, which is interesting. Let me see where it is. I found it. I'll put a link to it on this show page.
Nice.
I see on 51 Raynaud's syndrome. So my wife, Kate, she does the show with me. She's unable to do the show today, but her and her sister have both been diagnosed with Raynaud's syndrome. Now, can high dose magnesium therapy reverse that, do you think?
It can. It can, because when you look at the symptoms of, everybody's kind of different. Sometimes drugs cause Raynaud's, or there are different levels of it. But just for essential Raynaud's, then definitely magnesium is important. You look at the spasms of the small blood vessels. You look at the cold extremities. You look at the poor circulation. All those things are going to be helped by magnesium.
Interesting. Yeah. So, whenever I do a sauna, we've got a sauna here in our studio, and whenever I do a sauna, I always make sure afterwards to either drink a green juice, or there's fulvic acid mineral supplements that I'll take, and some vitamins, because after you sweat a lot of this stuff out, along with toxins, but you sweat out a lot of good minerals too, don't you? You do. Yeah. I've had instances of people on cleanses, practitioner-run cleanses where they recommend infrared saunas or hot sauna boxes, and people will get worse and worse and worse, and then they end up coming to me. Nobody knows why, but it's because even if the minerals you take are not fully absorbed, then you think you're getting what you need. Same with the chelation therapy, Justin. The intravenous chelation, where EDTA, DMSA, DMS, whatever, will pull out supposedly toxins and calcium from the calcification, but it's also going to pull out other minerals. And they say, oh no, we give an IV of the minerals afterwards, but if it takes 7 days to resaturate, one little IV isn't going to help. So there's a real imbalance being caused by people who go on heavy detoxes and heavy chelation. So it's important that, when you remineralize, it should be with minerals that are 100% absorbed. When you detox, it should be, I think, with precursor nutrients that help make your own glutathione. And you give the body the precursor, and when the body is ready to detox on its own good time, it'll use those precursors, not when you force it. So there's a lot of kind of
allopathic medical thinking in the so-called natural medical world. I call a lot of the naturopaths these days green allopaths because they'll look at a set of symptoms just like a doctor will and match it up with supplements. I've had clients and customers who've been on 300 to 500 supplement pills a day from their nutritionist.
Wow, that's nuts.
Yep.
Dr. Dean, I need to take a little bit of a break. Do you mind if we just pause this, and I'll be back in just a second?
Oh, go right ahead, Justin.
Excellent. I have to say, I have been absolutely loving this product by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar called Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. If you want to listen to the interview we did with Tristan, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/127. And Qigong is a great way to de-stress the body. And as you know, there's a huge component to disease caused by stress. And stress is a huge factor in how we live our lives and the amount of energy we have and the amount of vitality we have. And so, Dr. Shade, what do you think about Qigong?
People come to me and they're really sick and they got this blown out neurological system and all this toxicity. And I tell them, you need to do Qigong, Tai Chi. You need to do these things that settle down and restore your neurology because it puts together all the parts. It puts you back into that state where you can start to detoxify. And so I highly, highly recommend all that.
And what about you, Kit Campbell? What do you think about Qigong? Do you like it as well?
Qigong is amazing. And the reason that I believe it to be amazing is everything here is energy. That is a scientific fact, if there ever is one. So when you're practicing Qigong, you're actually drawing energy into your body. Your intention, whatever your intention is behind any action, will determine the level of energy, type of energy that you absorb into your body. So your intention behind is very important, just like thought. So when you're practicing Qigong, you're actually bringing energy in and you're bringing out the stuff that might be a bit stale. With Tai Chi, it's totally different. The energy runs underneath the skin because it's more of a martial. This is the Chinese understanding, by the way. It's more of a martial art. So Qigong is very, very good for bringing that energy into the body and just fantastic.
If you're interested in picking up this Qigong course by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar, go to extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. That's QIGONG. And you can learn more about it. There's a great video on that page, and you can learn more about it on that page. And I highly, highly recommend this product. I love it myself, so go ahead and check that out. extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. Okay, Doc, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. My husband's just going to bang a door shut, and then I'll be ready to go.
Excellent. No problem.
One more minute. Second. You've got a throat thing, Justin?
Sorry, what's that?
Do you have a throat thing?
Yeah, every now and then. Sometimes I'll have like phlegm in my throat. Yeah.
Beneficial mucus elimination.
Say that again?
Well, I mean, cold. We used to call cold beneficial mucus elimination. It's just a way of the body dumping mucus, but it's likely something, you're building up mucus from usually sugar, wheat, or dairy.
I did have some berries this morning for breakfast. Maybe that's it.
Berries?
Yeah, like some blackberries and blueberries and things.
Well, that is sugar, fructose sugar.
That's pretty.
But yeah, what you have to do is just do some sort of diary, a food diary, and figure out what triggers what.
Yeah, it seems to happen whenever I have berries, though, which is interesting. But I love berries, and they're low sugar, apparently, so...
Right. So what you do is just eat them at night, and then you can have your mucus at night.
I need to reread that book. Are you familiar with that book, The Mucusless Diet Healing System?
Oh, yeah, Arnold Ehret.
Do you think there's anything to that? Maybe I need to reread that.
Well, the basics are true, of course, but he's just so strict. I mean, what did he talk about? Swallowing a cloth through your nose to clean things out.
Oh, he was intense, wasn't he?
Intense, yeah. But there's a basic premise there that makes sense. But I just tell people, look at the foods you're eating, and and to see what causes. For me, it is dairy, and so I just don't eat that much dairy.
Mm-hmm. Do you do any of the raw dairies if you do dairy? Is that something that
I
agrees
don't
with you?
seek that out. I don't eat it enough to want to look for the raw dairy. I'll just maybe once a month get a nice plain yogurt and eat that with berries.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's interesting what you were saying before the break, where you've seen people where their naturopaths have put them on so many different supplements, like hundreds of pills a day. Yeah. But it's fascinating too, because you wrote that whole article on magnesium deficiency, but aren't there like 90 plus minerals, give or take? And so that's just one mineral deficiency that's causing all of those issues. It's,
right. Yes. I guess what I call magnesium my gateway drug, and it's to get people's attention, but definitely from there, and we can talk about this. My husband shut the door now, so there's no more noise. But yeah, I definitely tell people in their drinking water to put unrefined sea salt. I have a multiple mineral that I recommend as well. If people don't eat dairy, I have a calcium formula. So I'm definitely interested in all the minerals, but I will use magnesium to grab people's attention, because as soon as you start taking magnesium, you feel better. We did say it can take, a year to saturate or a week of IVs, but people start feeling better long before they're saturated.
Do you think there's any, have all the minerals been studied, because like you said, magnesium gets sort of the number one play because it's, there's so much research that's been done on it and people talking about it. But are there lesser known minerals that we haven't studied yet, do you think, that could be as important as magnesium?
I think so. There, in one of my books about multiple minerals, I go over the 12 minerals that are in my multiple mineral product, and I was amazed at all the research on them. It's like the information is there, but it has not made it into the doctor's office and barely made it into mainstream. But for example, with the thyroid, we think of the thyroid just requiring iodine, but it requires 9 different minerals. So that what happens if you just take iodine for your thyroid, you jam one pathway and create a whole bunch of one end product that then requires selenium in order to go to the next step. And it goes along, kind of a pathway which requires each mineral at a different step, and we're just totally ignored all that. And actually, that's part of the book I was reading out about Wentz, where Wentz and Amy Myers, their thyroid books, they just end up saying, oh yeah, and then you need hormone replacement therapy.
Oh, okay.
And I say, no, you need your minerals. And personally, I've gotten off my Armour thyroid by taking my own Remite minerals, and hundreds of other people have said the same. So it's about giving the body the necessary building blocks, but in a form that they can absorb them. What I had to do with my magnesium is I have heart palpitations, leg cramps, neck pain, all the magnesium deficiency symptoms, and I didn't realize it until I started writing the Magnesium Miracle book, but I get the laxative effect from any magnesium.
Oh, really?
So I spent the last 10 years trying to convince mineral companies to make a non-laxative magnesium, and they wouldn't because it's too expensive, requires too much education. So finally I made my own, and it's a stabilized ionic form of magnesium, so that stable ion of magnesium shoots into the cells. It's 100% absorbed. It doesn't get to the intestine, so it doesn't cause laxative effect.
So you're taking, obviously, this orally, right? You're not putting it on your skin like some of those.
That's right. Yeah, in my, second edition of Magnesium Miracle Book, I said, yeah, well, it looks like we've got to do transdermal magnesium and lots of Epsom salts baths if we want to take enough. So, yeah, it's I've gotten over that whole problem where now there's this oral liquid that just, it's revolutionary. You know, it's really quite amazing because I can see people, they get off their stick heart medications and their arrhythmia medications because they get saturated with magnesium and the other minerals, and their heart heals.
You know, I was on a magnesium. I took what was it? It was something from, I forget what it was. It was a magnesium that was chelated to an amino acid taurine, I think, or magnesium taurate. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
For my heart. Because, you know, when I was in high school, I was about 15 years old. I was diagnosed at that time with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
Wow.
And that was that same sort of issue that they said all of the athletes were dying from in the early mid-90s. And so my mom was freaked out, and I had fainted a couple times playing basketball. And so, you know, all the news stories was, you know, these basketball players dying. And so we went through all the testing, and that's what I was diagnosed with. But the doctor said later on, you know, in my mid-20s and 30s that I had outgrown it. So, you know, a few years ago, I've been starting to take magnesium taurate for my heart. But I wonder how, you know, that's being absorbed. I have no idea, you know. I
know, and that's where the studies are lacking, actually, in the absorption of these minerals, because we do know that magnesium oxide is 4% absorbed, and that's horrible. And what a researcher told me once, Paris Kid, I think it was, he said to chelate the minerals, it just maybe adds a few percentage points. He suggested that maybe 20% was about what we were getting.
Oh,
when
really?
you look at mineral intake absorption studies for foods, they say the maximum might be 50%, even from food.
Really?
Yeah. So,
wow.
And that is into the bloodstream. It's not doing tissue samples and measuring it at the cellular level.
So what did you say? It was only 50% from food they found?
The minerals, mineral absorption from food may be only 50%.
Wow. And then all of that has to do with your hydrochloric acid, your digestion, and you got to work on that, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Only 50% from food. And the other thing too, which is bizarre, that you
are we supposed to be taping this, Justin?
Oh yeah, we're recording.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, we're back. No, but what I was going to say about the absorption is that, let's say you get 50% of let's say you get some food that's high in magnesium, chocolate or something, but if that chocolate, it wasn't grown with rock dust and all the minerals in the soil, then you're not even getting that much at all, right? Yeah. You know, that's what I think about too. People often say that Brazil nuts are really high in selenium, but I often wonder, I realize I think Brazil nuts is one of the only wild foods that's still available, or non-hybridized foods, but you know, the selenium has to be in the soil for those to so it's not just a slam dunk to say that Brazil nuts are high in selenium, right? Exactly, and there are no list of nutrients on your broccoli. You know, you don't know what's in that broccoli. Oh, right. There's no way of knowing if there are minerals or vitamins in that food, and I work with a biodynamic organic farmer here in Maui. Lucky. And I'm working on a fertilizer, one of my products. And even with his biodynamic organic rock dust land, this fertilizer allowed a 20% increase in productivity. Wow. So there are ways and means that we have to keep searching and working on. And actually, just jumping back, Justin, something you said about food absorption, there's one thing that always comes to mind when I think about the magnesium in different foods.
you know how turmeric is such a huge, hot supplement these days?
Oh, yeah. I take it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, turmeric has 3 times the magnesium compared to seaweed. And seaweed is like primo.
Really?
We talk about the magnesium in different foods. Well, seaweed is going to have a lot of magnesium because ocean water has 3 times the magnesium as it does calcium. So seaweed is very high. Turmeric is 3 times higher. So I say to people, look, get your magnesium first. It's probably a lot cheaper than taking turmeric, and you will get results. So I look at everything through the lens of magnesium, even these herbs, because then when you consider that turmeric is so popular right now, what are they growing? Where are they growing it? If they're mass-producing turmeric, is it still going to have the same effectiveness as the wild cultivated turmeric that began this whole,
People talking about it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it boggles me, this whole system, because you see, I've been around it long enough. I grew up in an area where there were no health food stores. And when I started practicing, I populated the health food stores, had all my patients go home and pick up supplements. I, made millionaires of these guys. There were no supplements when I started practicing, no supplements, to speak of. Now, there are 55,000 different supplement products on the U.S. market.
Wow. 55,000. Different brands or different actual?
Different brands, just lined up, one bottle of each product from, there'll be repeats, of course, but that's what people are forced to choose from. And when you look at a lot of the practitioner websites now, they're all selling supplements, and they're all excited because they have 100 different supplements for you to choose from. But how are you going to choose? When you're in a total body meltdown and you think you've tried everything, but really you've tried things for a couple of weeks, and when there wasn't a miracle cure, you moved on.
Right.
So I try to get people to recognize the whole mineral deficiency and this whole business about drinking enough water and putting unrefined sea salt in your water. Unrefined means it should not be white. It should have some color to it, which means the minerals are still there. And taking a multiple mineral that's well absorbed. If you're not eating dairy to get your calcium, taking a well-absorbed calcium, and I work with all those products. So I'm looking at all the minerals as being deficient in our bodies, and in ways, as you said, has there even been enough research for us to know how they're working?
I got to ask you a question really quickly about adding the sea salt to the water thing. We get our water from a well down here, and the TDS on that water is I think it's about like 15. It's really low. So the water is really clean, and they claim it's high alkalinity and all this stuff, right? So that's where we get our water. And I have I don't even know what the product name is. I think it's called Utah Sea Minerals or something like that. And it's basically concentrated ocean water that has all 92 minerals in it. And so what I've done before, and I'm curious your thoughts about this, if it's good or not. So I'll test the water before. I've tested it before, and the TDS is about 15. And then you mean
total dissolved solids?
Yeah, total dissolved solids in the water. So it's really got, it's really clean and really soft. And then I'll put a squirt, like a dropper full of those Utah Sea Minerals just to test it out. And then the TDS goes to, I think, around 150 or so. And they say that those total dissolved solids are inorganic, unabsorbed, minerals that are in the water. So you want to make sure it's low TDS. So when I increase the TDS with I guess the same thing could happen with sprinkled, mineralized sea salt. Are those minerals making it so, is the TDS rising so high, meaning that I can't absorb those, do you think?
No, what happens in the biochemistry of mineral compounds is that you take something like a magnesium chloride, which is the magnesium I work with. So that's a compound in the body, especially if you drink it in water, then the magnesium and the chloride dissociate. They become standalone ions, but they'll immediately bind up again, either with each other or with other ions in the body. So they're always attracting each other because they have these extra electrons whirling about. So what will happen is a certain percentage of time that the ion of magnesium is disassociated, then it has the ability to jump into a cell.
Okay.
So it's not always a compound, because a compound would bang up against the mineral ion channels, because the mineral ion channels just take ions, which is just this, straight magnesium. And what I've done with my products is created a stabilized ionic form of the minerals so that they stay stabilized long enough to be absorbed fully into the cells and then do their work, because it's the ions that are the cofactors in these metabolic processes, not the mineral compounds. So with sea salt, I think I know the product you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
I just tell people to get a Himalayan salt or Celtic salt. Here in Hawaii, we have a copper-colored salt that I use. And I say put a quarter teaspoon of the sea salt in a liter of your drinking water. And what I'm interested in with the sea salt, because I don't know how much sodium is in the concentrated minerals you're talking about, but a lot of the people that come to me are very adrenal deficient, and they need sodium. And, when people say, oh, I can't take sodium, what about my blood pressure? Well, a lot of these people have low blood pressure, so they do need their sodium. But the other thing about blood pressure and salt, that whole controversy, is that the doctors are talking about table salt, just plain sodium chloride.
Oh,
We're
right.
talking about sea salt that has, 70 to 90 different mineral compounds in it. And about the amount of water to drink, I tell people take half your body weight in pounds. So if you're 150 pounds, that's 75, and you drink that amount of ounces of water a day. Now, it's based on body weight. It's based on needing the water to flush out toxins. It's also based on if you're taking your sea salt in the water and my Remag and Remite and Recalcia, you're getting all these wonderful minerals going into the cells, and by a process of osmosis, those minerals draw water into the cells where it should be. Your water shouldn't be around your ankles or, puffing up your skin. Your water shouldn't be always dropping into your bladder, so you're always going to the bathroom, especially at night.
Right.
So if you're saturated with water in your cells, if your cells are hydrated, in other words, if your cells are mineralized, they pull the water into the cells where it's needed, and it's not in your tissues. And people will tell me, oh my gosh, I'm drinking more water, but I'm up less at night. Oh my gosh, I can fit into my shoes. By the end of the day, I wouldn't be able to do that because my ankles and feet would be so swollen.
Interesting.
So it's properly mineralizing your body and hydrating your body. And what do we do in medicine? People with high blood pressure, okay, no salt. Okay, take a diuretic and drain out, squish your body of all that extra water so that it takes the pressure off your blood vessels. And that diuretic, what does it do? It takes out your potassium and your magnesium. You may be told to eat a banana for your potassium, but you're never told about your magnesium. And then you're told, only drink, 4 cups of water a day. And what's that, 32 ounces? What are you, 64 pounds? It's crazy. And so they make people worse and worse and worse. You come back the next time to check your blood pressure, see if the diuretic is working, and your blood pressure is worse. And the doctor has the nerve to say, well, we caught your blood pressure just in time.
Just in time, right?
Yeah. Here, take 2 antihypertensives and call me in the morning.
Yeah.
And what happens is a couple months after taking your calcium channel blocker, at least they got the name right, but the natural calcium channel blocker is magnesium.
Okay.
And they give you a ACE inhibitor, and nobody even knows how they work. So you're taking these, and a couple months later, you get your blood tested to make sure your liver isn't crashing from all these drugs, and lo and behold, your blood sugar is up and your cholesterol is up. And they say, oh, we caught these just in time. No, they created them because low magnesium will cause blood sugar elevation and it will cause cholesterol elevation.
Yeah, fascinating. So with me, I weigh about 175 pounds, and I drank, I think, I figured it out a while back. I think it's like 87 ounces is what I would drink. And so I just kind of rounded up a little bit because I'm active and I do workouts and stuff. So that equates to, for me, about 3 mason jars full of water every day. I'm curious how much a pinch of sea salt. First of all, I guess it's more important to do the sea salt if you're in hotter environments, but if you're going to do the sea salt, how much do you think I should put in each of the mason jars?
Is that a 32-ounce mason jar?
Yeah, about 30. I think about 32, 33 ounces each.
Right. Well, that's a quarter teaspoon.
Okay.
And, that's only 3/4 of a teaspoon a day. Our RDA for sodium is about a teaspoon a day.
Okay.
And in the water, the minerals, the 70 to 90 minerals, they disassociate, the ions will be absorbed.
Okay.
And it's much better than just sea salting your food. It's much better to have these minerals in liquid form. That's why my minerals are in liquid form, one of the best magnesiums out there, but it does cause some laxative effect, is magnesium citrate powder. Okay. And that you can put in water same way and sip it through the day. The laxative effect from a lot of magnesium pills and powders is from taking your whole daily dose all at once, and you overload your cells. It can't possibly absorb all that, so it's got to be either urinated out or comes out through the intestines.
Yeah, minerals, I first learned about how important minerals are back, I don't know, in the early 2000s when I was first getting into all of this information, this alternative information. And, I've listened to multiple people talk about mineralization and how important it is for plants and how plants can withstand extreme temperatures and weather conditions. And there was even talk of people growing, orange trees in the middle of, Michigan in the wintertime because they're fully mineralized. I mean, it's just incredible what minerals can do. So if someone is interested in remineralizing their body, what is the difference between, because our culture today is focused on vitamins, right? It's all about vitamins. What are the differences there between the minerals and the vitamins, and how would they go about starting to get on a program like this, do you think?
Well, yeah, it's a good question because vitamins are kind of easier to come by in organic foods. There are studies showing that the big agra's foods don't have as many vitamins as organic foods. So I think you're safer with organic foods to get your vitamins. What I've come across is that we need methylated B vitamins, and for those you may need supplements, and I do work with that. You may need extra vitamin C, and you have to look at food-based vitamin C for the vitamin C complex, because all the vitamin C you see on the shelf, if you look at the back of the label, it's in the high dose vitamin C, it's going to be ascorbic acid.
All right.
Ascorbic acid is only one of the 8 vitamin C complexes. So we've been led astray to think that this 1/8 of vitamin C complex is actually the whole thing. So you have to look at vitamin C complex in one of my blogs called Dr. Dean's Supplement Recommendations. I talk about making your own liposomal vitamin C with rose hips, and
I want to ask you about that. Okay.
Yeah, and it's liposomal vitamin C is hot on the market right now, but if you look at the ingredients, it's made from ascorbic acid. So you're just mainlining ascorbic acid again, and yes, it can be helpful, and yes, high doses do help people with very many conditions. And I'm even on the board of the orthomolecular medical newsletter, where we talk. Orthomolecular means the right molecule, but they've taken it to mean high doses of vitamin C, pretty much. And I'm always saying, well, what about food-based vitamin C? So they're looking at ascorbic acid in a medicinal sense, which is okay as long as they, let people know that that's their focus. So with this vitamin C complex liposomal form, you can look up the recipe under Dr. Dean's Supplement Recommendations, and basically it's using a fat-soluble lecithin that will help the absorption of the vitamin C through the fatty cell membrane. Cell membranes have 2 layers of fat, so it'll help absorption. But as some people will point out to me, and I know the rosehip powder doesn't have that much vitamin C in milligrams. And when people are looking at, I want thousands and thousands, okay, then do both. Do ascorbic acid in high doses, because there's a lot of research showing its benefits. But also take some vitamin C complex. Either make your own or buy a food-based vitamin C. I use a Grown by Nature. There are several brands that are food-based. I don't know how much more you want to know about that, but I am big on vitamin C because it is important for the adrenal glands, and you may need to take ascorbic acid 1,000, 2,000 milligrams a day to support your adrenal glands.
Right. Yeah, I was making for a while the ascorbic acid vitamin C. I would make it in one of those, what are those things, like a jewelry cleaner?
Yes, an ultrasonic cleaner.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I would make it in there, and sometimes I would use like the food-based vitamin C's, and sometimes I would use the just regular ascorbic acid with some lecithin. And then I heard someone talking about how when you make it with those contraptions, it doesn't really encapsulate very well at all. But when I would take it back, this was maybe a year or two ago when I was making it more often. When I would take it, I wouldn't feel. I would take high doses, which would equivalent to maybe 1,000 milligrams at a time, and I would take it high doses, and I would never feel any stomach upset. So I thought it must be encapsulating to some degree. But
I know, and there's so much disinformation out there. Oftentimes when you hear someone putting down some homemade product, it's because they're trying to sell their commercial product. So
that's true.
You have to go by how you feel, exactly as you said, Justin. Well, I felt better on it, so be it.
Right. Yeah, and one of the things too I think is really important is that there are a lot of therapies and protocols and health practices you could develop in your own home, and if you don't have to buy it somewhere, then obviously, like buying it, like I hear that ozonated olive oil is really challenging to make. I think it takes like 12 to 15 days to make it. And so when it becomes something like that, then it makes sense. But if you can make some of this stuff at home, why not, right?
I know, and I think that's why I'm so excited about recommending unrefined sea salt in water, because it's so simple.
Yeah.
I just line up my 4 16-ounce glasses of water a day and put a quarter teaspoon in each, and put slightly alkaline water in in each glass, and then I just finish them up by the end of the day. That's pretty simple.
I know, right? And so do you put your magnesium in the water as well, along with the sea salt?
Yes.
How much of that do you, I'm looking at your product, and it looks like it comes in a big blue bottle, looks like it's glass too, which is great, right?
I'm afraid it's not glass. It's medicinal grade plastic. The glass would have increased the price, doubled the price for shipping.
Wow. That's
just
true.
Crazy. But we are working on a Remag capsule, but the liquid form is the best absorbed. So we have very ill people who start taking this, and we start off with a quarter teaspoon in that liter of water and sip it through the day. And personally, when I started testing it on myself, I had to work up to 4 teaspoons a day, which is 1,200 milligrams. Each teaspoon has 300 milligrams.
Oh, wow.
And it took me about a year, and now I just take 2 teaspoons a day. That's 600 milligrams, which I think is the daily amount. The RDA is, I think, around 400, but I think most people need much more than that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So if somebody took, I'm just looking at the bottle itself, so I'm not looking at the label. How long would a bottle last? That's kind of a loaded question because it all depends on the level of health and all of that, and a lot of different factors. But in general, what do you think a bottle would last someone? A month?
Well, we have 8 ounces and we have 16 ounces. The 8 ounces has 48 teaspoons.
Okay.
So if I'm taking 2 teaspoons a day, that's a 24 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the beginning, that's why we made the 16 ounce, because people who are on, they're on dozens of supplements, they're on half a dozen medications, and actually what they tell us is once they get saturated with their magnesium and minerals and the other things that I do, they're no longer having to see doctors or masseuses or chiropractors. They cut back on all their other supplements. They don't crave alcohol or cigarettes. They stop eating junk food. So, they're telling us they're saving thousands of dollars a month just by being healthy. And isn't that what we want?
I know, right?
We want to be healthy.
When I was reading something recently where it was talking about remineralization. I can say that. Where they were talking about sugar cravings almost, and cravings for carbohydrates and all these processed foods diminish radically. And for me, it's hard to tell because I kind of eased my way into this natural, lifestyle. I don't eat any processed sugar. I don't eat any, processed carbohydrates, breads or cookies or anything like that. So, but I haven't done so for, since the early 2000s. So I don't really crave them anymore, but I have noticed that the more I remineralize my body, the more everything just works better. My brain works better. And something else too that I think is really strange, and maybe you working with so many people can affirm this. When I remineralized my body, I noticed that my mind would be more accepting of new ideas. For some reason, I became more open-minded and looking at things from different angles and investigating things a lot more. I don't know if it was just a coincidence, but I don't know. What do you think? Well,
that's called brain plasticity, where your brain is able to accept change and adapt. And they did all that research on animal models and found that actually magnesium is one of the most important minerals for allowing brain plasticity.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah. That was awesome research, and it really shows that the whole dementia, senility, even Alzheimer's could be turned around if we mineralized our brains.
Gosh.
And I know there was a study of a type of magnesium, L-threonine. it was a rat study, and they showed some of this work, and then they made the glaring erroneous statement that this is the only magnesium that gets into the brain, and that is just so not true, because even studies with magnesium oxide that's 4% absorbed showed improvements in brain function. And this is, going back decades of research. So any type of magnesium you take is going to help you. When people say, I'm on all these drugs, I'm afraid to take magnesium, I just tell them, well, dip your body in an Epsom salts bath. That's not going to hurt anybody.
Right.
And they, okay, yeah, because people, for some reason, they will take a drug from a doctor because they think the doctor knows what they're doing. They're afraid not to take the drug. Right. They'll put up with the side effects, but then they'll be afraid to take a supplement.
Isn't that so bizarre? It's so bizarre, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do every now and then. I do. Have you ever done those sensory deprivation chamber things?
Oh yeah, the float tanks.
Yeah, the float tanks. Yeah, those are just filled with magnesium, from what I understand.
Yeah, 1,000 pounds of magnesium in a float tank.
It's amazing.
Magnesium sulfate, and it's Epsom salts. And yes, there's someone was just asking me. The Epsom Salt Council is putting out a press release on float tanks and really promoting them. And yeah, they're fantastic. And I would love to have one in my on my lanai, for Pete's sake.
You're already in Hawaii. That would be amazing, though, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that would be so great to have one of those things. I go in there and you just kind of tune out to everything for a good 90 minutes. It's incredible. Mm-hmm. So with minerals, what I thought would be very interesting, maybe you could point people in a place. Is there a place online or in any book that you've written or read that goes over the minerals and their relation to every organ? Like, it would be interesting to read about like either magnesium and what it does, or something like your liver and what are all the minerals that your liver needs. Is there a resource like that you know about?
Well, I did that with the 12 minerals in my Remite. That book is at rnareset.com. And I think I said earlier, I was amazed when I went through the research on minerals to find out how many levels they work on. But the book is called Invisible Minerals Part 2, Remite and Recalcia, and it's at rnareset.com under books. And it's kind of it's a preliminary guide where you can kind of start your own research. But people are amazed. Like, for example, zinc, it's responsible for about 180 enzyme processes.
Oh, really?
Magnesium, it's 700, 800. So zinc is sort of number 2, and it's extremely important. But if you don't take it in balance with copper, you get into problems. So what I did with my Remite product was take into consideration all the different, copper toxicity problems in the world now, because we have so much copper plumbing, copper pipes. Women have copper IUDs that we have too much copper, so copper's become a problem, but we still need ionic copper. So I made the copper in my Remite very low and made the zinc proportionally higher to bump out the bad copper in the body. So it's a very delicate operation, the whole thing, and it has taken me the 10 years of study before I went into medicine and the 40 years since to really put it together these past few years that there is an important balance. You do not just go for a blood test and say, oh my gosh, this is all out of whack, I better take this, this, and this. Or I'm not big on hair analysis either, because that's 3 months past what your hair looked like, and it just shows what your body's dumping. What if your body's dumping the bad things, and you're making conclusions based on erroneous theories. For example, in autism, when we were doing hair analysis on autistic kids, we would know they had mercury, and there would be no mercury in the hair. And if you just took that at face value, then we had to say, oh, well, they're storing mercury, or their body's harboring mercury.
Or they can't get rid of it, yeah.
And they can't, yes. They don't have the mechanisms to get rid of it. But how do you know that? You make so many assumptions with hair analysis that I just say, no, let's just take your sea salt and water and your Remag and your Remite, and if you don't eat dairy, take your Recalcia, and you've got all your minerals. So... And you know, very complex people come to us, and we just say, yes, you know, we know you've tried everything. We know you're in total body meltdown. You know, listen to our radio archives and testimonials, and just know if you remineralize and drink enough water, and also work on your yeast detox. We haven't even gotten into that.
No, that's a whole nother show. We should do another show on that.
It is. And these... To make it that basic, these very common sense suggestions kind of soothe people and make them realize, oh my gosh, then I don't have MTHFR gene mutation. You know, I don't have all these histamine intolerance. And not to put these things down, but seriously, folks, I've been at this for long enough that I've seen all these conditions come and go, and people get all, you know, upset about them and try to avoid every food that they may be allergic to. Do you know that if you do food allergy testing and you have a leaky gut, any food that you don't completely digest down to a molecule is going to be absorbed in through your leaky gut into your bloodstream and make it look like you have food allergies. So that's why you'll have a food allergy panel coming back. Oh, I'm allergic to everything I'm eating. I'm going to die.
Yeah.
All these tests are just these electro tests, electrodermal tests, where you hold something and they test your whole body, and then they give you a printout saying, "Oh, this is your top 100 problems." I mean, I just want to rip people apart when they give people such fear-based analysis, and then on which they base their 300 to 500 supplements that they sell to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really, really just bizarre how all that works. And I mean, I guess it makes sense if a lot of these people a lot of these naturopaths are, you know, acting in the way that a medical doctor would, just using natural principles. But you know what? I like the idea of remineralizing the body, because like we haven't done a show yet with you on yeast infections and candida, but if we were, I would imagine that being mineralized, like if you're going to go after something like candida and yeast and fungus in your body, it's best to have all the minerals in your body and to be completely balanced and normalized in that way. And so it's like a foundational thing, right?
Yes, when you look at the yeast toxins that the yeast naturally excrete in their life cycles, you get acetaldehyde, and that's we call that the hangover chemical. Mm-hmm. It's from breakdown of alcohol, for Pete's sake. So alcohols and acetaldehydes are produced by yeast, and what breaks down acetaldehyde is magnesium. Other yeast toxins, molybdenum breaks them down. That's another mineral I work with in Remite. So when you sort of tease out all these associations, you do see, just as you said, Justin, that the minerals are playing such a role, the zinc and selenium for your immune system. The body hides yeast. Yeast is a real stealth organism in the body because it has a function. It's a necessary function in the body for the yeast to break down dead and dying material. Mm-hmm. And as long as we don't have dead and dying material in our body, in other words, have our daily bowel movements and eat our roughage and drink enough water, that we have regular bowel movements, then yeast isn't really that necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, what people I've heard talk about is that, when you're eating something like food that creates death in the body. And so like if you're eating, bread and sugar and these types of things, you're literally just destroying your cells, and then the yeast has to come out and repopulate to destroy and eat up that dead material. It's crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So I want to ask you a quick question. Did you used to sponsor some of the shows that were on Natural News?
Natural News. I didn't sponsor. You mean Mike Adams?
Yeah, I feel like I've heard
I've done a lot of articles for Mike, and it was just I would just give him articles to put on his site.
Okay, yeah, because I remember listening to his show a lot years ago, and they'd always have RNA product, and so when I saw that you created that, I thought maybe that's you. I don't know.
Well, when we first developed the RNA drops, we did some advertising on various shows, so you may have come across it there.
Okay.
It's a barley extract that actually we began making it because it's the basis of a water purifying system.
Interesting.
And this system, it's a 400-pound block that a third of it is sprouted barley with the liquid forming part of it, but it's like a clay base. So it solidifies into like a concrete in this 400-pound block. Then we use it in purification systems. So we're in the process of making that, the squeezed out juice from the barley. People at the factory started imbibing it, they were inhaling it, and they had their hands in it when they didn't have their plastic gloves on.
That's
and
funny.
They started telling us that they were having all kinds of incredible health effects.
Oh, that's great.
And the environment seemed cleaner. And my husband keeps talking. I wish he wouldn't, but it's kind of interesting. The toilet bowl never needed to be cleaned. It's like it detoxified the whole area.
Oh, that's funny.
We started bottling it and had a lot of people try it, and again, lots of beneficial health effects. So we've been working with it for years, and it is called RNA drops. We backburnered it because I got burned by our first distributor who tried to steal the trademark and stole my website and my customer list. So I've been battling for the trademark with him for a couple of years. So,
wow.
People might come across his name in relation to RNA drops, but it is quite an incredible product. So we've spent the past couple of years really like fine-tuning the manufacturing, making sure it's FDA compliant and keep having incredible results. We've got this one guy, Joe. He had ankylosing spondylitis, and he was pretty much bedridden. Ankylosing spondylitis is a solidification of the vertebrae of the back, where it starts when usually a male is young in their teens, and eventually you just bend right over with this spine solidification. So he'd had his condition for over 37 years, I think it was, and when he started taking the RNA drops and then the other products, after a few months, he started riding his bicycle around the neighborhood and freaked everybody out.
It's got to be great to hear stuff like that,
Yeah, it is amazing.
That's so cool. I was looking at your site. You've authored 110 Kindle books?
Uh-huh. I have an online wellness program called Completement Now. I thought that creating 104 modules of everything I knew, put in a weekly download for people, I thought that would answer all their questions. But it came right at the time of the 2008 economic crash. People got so stressed out.
Yeah.
Finally, a couple of years later, I just said, okay, you want products, I'll give you products. Because people said, no, just tell me what to do. I don't even have time to read a 10-page module. So what I did at a certain point is I kindled all those modules so that people could just get one at a time. And, I mean, I don't even promote it. I'm so bad at that. I've just been so busy with the company, and just I have a 2-hour calling radio show where I talk to people. I don't have time to do consults anymore, so people call in the show. I have managed to clone an incredible customer service team, because we get people who phone in and talk for, hours.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah, because they just want to be heard. I mean, you have people, in their total body meltdown. It is no exaggeration that these people from birth can be yeast overgrown. If their mother had yeast infection when they were born, they can be mineral deficient, and then with their increasing symptoms, they keep getting treated with more and more drugs, and end up at age 50 and 60 on our doorstep. And we just track it all back and say, okay, the worst is over. You're here now. Start drinking sea salt in your water. And when people get a bit of hydration and a bit of the sea salt, they actually perk up. And it's all what is it, downhill from there? Anyway, it's all good from there, because once people start feeling a little bit better, it's like their hope gene gets activated, and they're back in the game.
Yeah, and that's what's so important, I think, is when people start realizing they have hope. Because unfortunately, with a lot of just mainstream information, mainstream medical doctors, and they're great people, but there's just not a lot of hope, and so when people realize, like, wow, they really can get on top of their health condition and whatever challenges they're having, there is hope for people, and no matter what condition. And so just having that mindset and understanding that, and then pursuing that, and then implementing some of the ideas that you learn, and then once someone starts seeing a little improvement, then it just keeps going. And I don't know, I just think that's really cool that there is hope for people out there in general.
Yes, and that made me think of how doctors are admonished to not give false hope to people.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. We are actually told you have to read all the negative side effects of the surgery you're going to do. They don't really do that with drugs, but they're looking for the bad stuff. They're never looking for the good stuff. They're never there to pat someone on the shoulder. It's no longer the good Marcus Welby family doctor where they come into your home, they see what your environment, they're able to draw conclusions, they're able to support you and just reassure you. Most people who go to the doctor these days just want reassurance that their symptoms aren't problematic. Doctors are not trained to give reassurance. They're trained to find the problem. So if there's a 1% chance that you've got cancer, you're going to be analyzed, up the yin-yang until they find something.
Yeah, that's true. I bet you they're really excited about all of these new cancer screenings and getting finer and finer down to the DNA. And if they can find a one cell cancer cell in your body, then they can diagnose you and get you into that whole trap. It's
right. It just boggles me. I cannot see how someone can have a shred of common sense and buy into the whole allopathic model. But down here in Maui, I walk the hotel strip. There's an incredible boardwalk along the ocean front, and the hotels, they're not high rises or anything, so they actually fit nicely into the landscape. But I'll walk through the hotels to see what conferences are on. They're either computer software companies or medical.
Oh, really?
And these medical conferences, you look them up, they'll have, maybe not here in Maui, but they'll have tens of thousands of doctors coming to cancer conferences. When I go to, or used to go to alternative medicine conferences, or now, when I speak at them, there'll be a couple of hundred. Wow. It's outrageous that cancer is such a huge business.
Yeah, it's amazing. If you look at the amount that each cancer patient is worth, it's incredible, hundreds of thousands of dollars throughout their entire treatment, and probably more than that. And so it makes sense. It makes so much sense. But I think that what's cool is I just read on your site is your goal is to help 1 million people reset their bodies. And, that's awesome because, if we're able to do that, then we're able to sort of extract ourselves from that whole paradigm and that whole world. And we can, if we're healthy and we're happy, we're vibrant, we're vital, then that means other areas of our life are going to be that way as well. So if someone wants to be an author, or they want to start a show or do whatever it is that they want to do, they're going to have the energy and the health to be able to facilitate that. So, and then the world gets changed because people are actually doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, So it's
Yes, I spent some time in the health freedom movement, kind of attacking the bad guys and lobbying Congress down here and the Parliament up in Canada.
Yeah.
And we were told outright that no, we can't shift our view of medicine. We can't support alternatives. The drug companies threaten to leave the country if we don't support them fully. And but they left the country anyway. Supposedly Trump's bringing them back, but the medical establishment used to control the government. So the only hope you have is your own, is taking your health into your own hands. And I'm not going to be a person's doctor. I'm not going to say, oh, you do this and you'll be fine, I'll take care of you. No, it's up to you. I cannot drink your water, put your sea salt in it. I can't take your minerals. I can't eat your diet. All those very basic things are under your jurisdiction, and you will see when you do them that you will feel better.
I love that. Self-empowerment on every level. It's great. So what is the best place for people to find you?
Just type my name in and all manner of stuff will come up. Well, my personal website is drcarolyndean.com, and as you saw, that my products are on the side, and that website I mentioned with the books is rnareset.com.
Okay.
And if you sign up for my newsletter, free newsletter, I blog once or twice a week. I'll take articles from mainstream medicine and just, rip them. Like right now I'm working on one about poly pills. For decades, medicine has been trying to create a poly pill for heart disease.
Oh, heart disease.
It is a combination of at least 4 different drugs in one pill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I think it's probably because people are starting to complain. Why do I have to take all these pills? They have side effects. So they figure if they smash 4 or 5 different drugs in one pill, people just thinking, oh, I'm just taking one pill.
Oh, my gosh.
It's terrible. And there's never been any positive results from any of the studies on the poly pill.
Right.
But now this editorial in the Lancet, for Pete's sake, says poly pills, an essential medicine for cardiovascular disease.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So they're just going to brainwash the doctors who will brainwash the public. And, I mentioned briefly, we didn't really talk that much about heart disease and magnesium, the fact that magnesium deficiency is the cause of high blood pressure. You go into your doctor with your high blood pressure, end up on all these drugs, and that give you high cholesterol and high blood sugar. And what doctors say, because they will not recognize that their drugs are causing these effects, doctors will say, well, the natural progression of heart disease once you have hypertension is to get cholesterol and diabetes. So we'll give you those drugs as a preventive.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That's what the poly pill is.
Isn't that crazy? And it was cool. I like the way you worded that. You said the drugs that are causing these effects with people, and a lot of people think, oh, what are the side effects of drugs? But they're not side effects. They're all just effects, right?
Effects, yes.
It's like they're all just, that's what the effect of the drug is. Oh, that's so cool. So, yeah, so Dr. Carolyn Dean is your website, and then RNA Reset, and that's drcarolyndean.com, right?
That's right. That's right. You don't want to stop this discussion, do you, Justin?
Well, no, but I mean, there's so much to talk about, but I figure we've been going for an hour and 31 minutes.
So, oh my gosh.
So, but maybe we'll do it again on maybe yeast or something or whatever else.
I think that'd be great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're a great interviewer. You have a lot of good questions, and we can get a lot of information out there about yeast. So I'd love to do that.
Okay, let's do it again in a couple months. I'll send you a link to reschedule. Yes. That'd be great.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Well, hang on the line there, Doc, and I'm going to close out the show. Just want to say thank you to everyone that have listened today. This was episode 514, so I'll be back right after we're done here for a recap, but if you guys want to check out the show on the website, again, it's extremehealthradio.com/514, and what I will do is I will put links to the articles that she mentioned on her website, which is When Magnesium Makes Me Worse. Let me get the other one here. Download the first, that's the wellness program. And then the other one that she mentioned on the show, the article on her website, Gauging Magnesium Deficiency Symptoms. And then that third one was Dr. Dean's supplement recommendation. So I'll put a link to all three of those articles on her website at extremehealthradio.com/514. That should be easy enough. Stay tuned for more shows, and I'll be back after this. And thank you guys for listening. If you know of anyone who might enjoy this show or get some good information from it, pass it on to your friends via Facebook or social media or anywhere else like that. We would all appreciate that. And it's good to spread good information. So thanks, guys, for joining us. We love you, and let us know if we can ever help, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
In the 1950s, Dr. Joanna Budwig had a 90% success rate curing people of cancer using fresh pressed flax oil and cottage cheese. The combination of dairy protein with unoxidized flax oil was able to restore oxygen transfer. It is now well known the cells of our bodies require unoxidized omega-3 and 6 seed oils to both attract and absorb oxygen. For the first time, there are seed oils with virtually zero oxidation, even after 1 year at room temperature. All other, quote, cold-pressed seed oils are structurally damaged and significantly oxidized by the time you consume them. Andrea's seed oils retain the correct shape, electron content, and information that is quickly communicated to all the cells of your body. By taking these sacred seed oils, your whole body will begin to use oxygen as the Creator designed it. Now combine this with our Life Force Enhanced One World Whey protein, and you have a winning combination to confer energy and health like never before. Click on the 5-seed oil banner right here on extremehealthradio.com. That's extremehealthradio.com.
All right, there you go. Episode 514 with Dr. Carolyn Dean, and I just wrapped up a sort of private conversation with her off the air, and I want to let you guys know that she is doing a radio show. I forgot to mention this at the end, but she's doing a radio show every Mondays. If you guys want to listen live, you can listen live. I think there's a chat room she mentioned, and you can call in and ask your health questions, which is really cool. I have not heard it, so I don't know, but it sounds really cool. It's every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, and the website for that is Achieve Radio. So that would be 5, 6, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific at achieveradio.com every Monday at 4 p.m. Yeah, curious what you guys thought about that. I was, I've always been fascinated by minerals and mineralizing the body and mineralizing just ourselves at a deep, deep level. And like I was saying on the show, I think it's just, for me personally, it's been instrumental for me in developing an inquisitive mind, and it's been able to open up my mind. I don't know if it's like, I can't really say that, prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that that's what it was. But I tell you, when I first started getting into alternative health back in 2003, ever since then, my mind has just been sharper. I've been, slowly remineralizing myself. As many of you guys know, I used to be just an addict of sugar and carbohydrates. I used to eat these muffins. My mom would get me these muffins. I'd buy them for myself at Costco. My mom would get them for me when I was a kid. There was this big double chocolate, these huge, big, massive muffins, and they're just double chocolate chip, and it was, oh my gosh, a ton of sugar, and I would eat all these cookies, and I'd have just the worst diet ever, and just completely addicted to processed foods, sugar, carbohydrates, and all that stuff. And as a result of remineralizing myself over the years, I don't have any of those cravings at all. I haven't eaten any of those foods. I've had a slice of pizza. Oh gosh, I don't know. Maybe the last slice of pizza I had was 2006 or 7 or something like that. And it was just a few slices. But it doesn't really matter, I could eat a piece of pizza now. I don't really put a lot of stock into that, but I guess the point is that all my cravings for that stuff just sort of went away. It's not like I'm any better than anybody else because I don't eat pizza or processed carbohydrates. Who knows? Someone could eat the diet full of that, for 50, 60 years and live till they're 90, so it doesn't really prove anything, but I guess, when you know better, you do better, as the old saying goes. And so when you know what these types of foods do to you and how it causes death to the cells and increasing candida and yeast, to be able to eat up those cells, it doesn't sound appealing to me because it doesn't really facilitate the direction I'm going. And so for me, I need all the energy I can to be able to do as much work as I can possibly do in this world. And so there's just a lot to do, a lot to accomplish. I have a lot of goals. I have a lot of people I want to help. A lot of just personal goals and business goals and, helping people goals and all kinds of stuff like that. So I need all the energy I can. So I can't afford to cheat. And it's not like I want to cheat either. It's not like I walk by a pizza shop and I'm just dying to have it and I have to hold myself. If I really wanted it, I would eat it. I've sort of gotten to that place now. And, but the thing is as long as I'm smart and I'm strategic about how I go about eating, I never really crave those foods ever. And even if someone puts it in front of me, for the most part, I don't even consider it to be food. So it doesn't really, I know what it does to my body, so it doesn't really tempt me. But if you have, if you're going to go into a situation where there's going to be foods like that, the best thing to do that I do is I simply, a couple different things. I'll make sure I eat a lot before I go to a place like that. So whenever I get there, I'm full. The other thing I do is make sure I'm mineralized. So I take, I've been taking, a couple different really great, I'll tell you in a second, a couple different minerals. I haven't tried Dr. Dean's yet, so I want to try that one, but just making sure you're mineralized so you don't get those cravings for sugar and processed carbohydrates. And then the other thing that I do too is I have a sort of set of foods that I eat every day that I make sure I do, like a green juice or a green smoothie or something like that, where I have a discipline of doing these things. And so what I'll do is, like for example, if my thing is like a green smoothie or something, I'll put an avocado in there and make it really thick and filling, and maybe a scoop of our One World Whey protein powder that we do, or the colostrum from Daniel Vitalis, which has got a ton of minerals and a ton of great nutrients in it. And so what I'll do is I'll have that. I'll whip up a green smoothie, put some colostrum and put some One World Whey in there and an avocado, make it really thick and a lot of greens. And I'll drink that before I'm going to go, do something that I know I shouldn't do, like eat a piece of pizza, right? So I would do that. And then by the time I got there, I would tell myself, okay, I'm full already from the food I just ate, but I had my discipline of the day. The discipline of the day was to do a green juice or green smoothie. I did that. So now that I've done that, it's okay if I have that piece of pizza, but only if you do your disciplines first. And so that's kind of the approach. It's called subtraction by addition. So you add in all the foods you want to eat every day, and then if there's room left over, then you can have that, scoop of Haagen-Dazs ice cream or whatever it is you want to eat, and not feel guilty. And you'll realize that after, months and months and years of doing this, you just don't have any room left for any of the bad stuff. And not only that, you don't crave it. And I think it has a lot to do with remineralizing. You're eating highly concentrated foods that absorb into your body. So I think it's really helpful to do that, because that way you just don't have those cravings, and a whole cascading of effects happens as a result of that. So hope you guys enjoyed the show. Let's see, maybe make sure RNAreset.com is her website, as well as Dr. Carolyn Dean. And this was episode 514. And just so you know, too, we are going to be launching an academy ourselves, private online sort of exclusive membership academy here at Extreme Health Radio, where we're going to be diving into practical applications of putting these things, these principles and these health protocols into practice and on a daily basis. And so we're going to be doing courses. We're going to be doing a lot of really cool things. We're going to be doing courses on body organs and body systems. So like your hormones, we'll do a whole course on that with a prolific doctor, or we'll do something on the liver, and we'll cover the liver from A to Z and everything you need to do, avoid, and everything you need to incorporate that helps the liver, from energetics to diet to nutrition to avoiding foods to protocols like castor oil packs or anything like that. We'll cover the liver from A to Z. And then so we're going to have courses on specific body functions and organs of the body so that you can really get a handle and increase your organ health. But then we're also going to be doing Q&As where we're going to be answering your health questions. We're going to be covering everything from A to Z on all kinds of different topics. So it's going to be a fascinating place to be. And we're going to have a forum in there where we can share and make friends with each other. And it's just going to be an awesome place. It's not going to be for everybody. Only for those of you sort of superheroes that want to take your health to the next level, or if you have some conditions you want some help with from the community, or you want to overcome a certain health challenge. This is going to be the place for you. So I want to let you guys know we're not launched yet, but we will be soon. And if you're interested, I would highly recommend getting on the waiting list, because those people that are on the waiting list are going to get access to the early bird pricing. It's going to be a paid monthly program, and we're going to be adding new content to it every month. That's going to be just amazing stuff. I'm so excited about it. So it's something I've been wanting to create for myself, because I want answers to, I want to do, have well-researched answers to just about every health condition out there. So if I ever need it, I can just refer to the membership site and get access to, a bunch of different doctors and protocols that deal with certain specific subject matter. So, it's really just a labor of love for something that I want for myself, but I think it's going to benefit everybody too. So, the early bird pricing, it's going to be, I'm not sure what it's going to be at the beginning, but it's going to be a massive discount, and we're going to, probably make that available for like 7 days or so, depending on how things change before we launch the program. So, and that will be a lifetime discount too. So anyway, I'll put a link to that, to the academy, where you can sign up and get on a waiting list. I haven't emailed out once for that. It's just, you can sign up and I won't email you until it's ready to go. So, you just have to confirm your email and all that. So I'll put a link to the academy at extremehealthradio.com/514. And really quickly, one more thing too. Let me just let you know of our upcoming guests coming up. Let's take a look here at our schedule. Okay, next week we're going to be talking with Melissa Hennig, and we're going to be talking about raw paleo. So she does a lot of work with making raw food, but also paleo, so raw animal products. And then we've got Ken Rolla, we've got Jesse Canone. Ken Rolla is a trip. He's the guy behind the rest shields that we have in our store. If you guys haven't checked these things out, there's those little golden pyramids. They're not little actually, but they sit on your nightstand and they help to reduce electromagnetic field radiation. It's pretty interesting technology you plug them into the wall and it emits some sort of scalar energy that he understands. He's talked about it on our show. I don't quite understand, but I just love ours. We have it right by my nightstand. I should take a picture and put that on Instagram one of these days. I have like a Giza plateau next to my bed every night. It's hilarious. And then we've got Jesse Canone. Oh, by the way, that pyramid's available in our store if you want to check it out. Jesse Canone, where he does natural back pain relief. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming up. So make sure to stay up to date with everything we have going on. by signing up to our newsletter. That's the best way to do that. So just sign up to our newsletter and you'll get access to all the shows. And just so you know too, in our newsletter that we send out every Monday and Friday, we do let you guys know of free online summits. So the cool thing is that coming up at the end of this month is the truth about vaccines. So I'll put a link to that somewhere on the website as well if you guys want to sign up for that through our link. So that would be awesome. It's all free, and that's going to be, I think personally, that one's going to be massive because vaccines is, cancer is put out by Ty Bollinger, who does the truth about cancer, but cancer is obviously affects just about one in two people, right? But vaccines is such a hot topic and such a controversial topic, and people are so polarized about vaccines. And so that is going to be, I think, a massive summit, free online summit. So I'm really looking forward to it and excited about it. So if you guys are interested, you can sign up on our website. We love you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. We love you. Let us know if we can ever help. And thanks for your support on Amazon. That's a great way to support us, by the way. If you like what we do, go to our website, and there's a really cool thing I've just put together where if you're on the right-hand side of our website, there's a link for Amazon. And below that, there's some text that says click and drag me to your desktop. So if you click and drag that text on the right-hand side of our website to your desktop, it'll create an icon, and all you got to do is just use that icon, just rename it to Amazon or something, and use that icon every single time you make an Amazon purchase, and that will support the show. That way you don't have to remember to go to our website, because that's the hardest thing, is to just to remember that. But thanks for your support on Amazon. Thanks for your support on Patreon. You guys that are doing that, I thank you so much. Your support makes this whole show possible and everything we're doing. So we really appreciate that. And thanks for visiting our store too. We're adding new products all the time. Quick little plug for our store. Let me just tell you, there's a couple new products that we put on there that I want to let you guys know about. I won't go into it in full detail, but one of them is the oxygen concentrators from Promo Life. Check that out. That can be used with ozone therapy, in conjunction with ozone therapy, as well as exercising with oxygen. They call it EWOT, exercising with oxygen training. So it's a really, really powerful modality to get into. Then we've got the Raw Chef fermentation course. We've got the accelerated silver, which is a scalar silver that is, according to Sarah Banta from Accelerated Health Products, 100% absorbable, as opposed to 6% of other colloidal silvers. So I haven't done the testing, so I don't know, but I do take the product, and I do like the product, and I do feel like it has helped tremendously. This is the first winter I haven't had a cold or cough or anything. So it's been, I've been taking her silver a lot. So check that out. Then we've got the magnetic sleep mattress pads in our store, the Aura Wellness tooth remineralization product from Aura Wellness called Shine. We've got the Allertrex from Global Healing Center, which is the product by Dr. Ed Group that cleanses your lungs. It's a lung cleanse. All kinds of cool stuff in our store. So check it out. If you guys want to support the show, want some cool products that will help support us, we really appreciate that. So, thank you all for listening again. We love you, and let us know if we can ever help, and we'll catch you guys on the next show.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted